Good morning, Mayor Holloway, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson, council members, Manager Watson, and special guests. And I'd like to offer a special welcome to the manufacturers who are with us this morning. I would say early morning, but we know in the manufacturing world, it's lunchtime, right? My name is Pat Kale, and I am proud to be President, CEO of your Union County Chamber. It is a joy and an honor to have this opportunity to welcome you to today's kickoff, today's Mayor Symposium for Good Jobs, Great Cities. We're grateful to you for making this time available to us to learn more about this exciting initiative and to participate in today's discussion. Manufacturing in Union County is big business. According to the 2023 wage survey produced by Monroe Union County Economic Development Commission, approximately 15,000 people are employed in manufacturing in our community. And manufacturing represents about 20% of the available jobs in our county. These jobs are good-paying, high-demand jobs with opportunities for advancement. Manufacturing pays well, offers job security, and career fulfillment. As my friend, Chamber Board member and chairman of Make It in Union County, and in his day job, President COO of Goulston Technologies, Fred Edwards, often says, today's manufacturing ain't your grandfather's manufacturing. Today's manufacturing is sexy. Well, maybe I paraphrased a bit, but not that sexy part. From time to time, as you know, I go out and speak in our community, and occasionally one of the groups will say, Pat, why is manufacturing important to our community? And I often say it's not. It's essential to the continued success of our community. Manufacturers create good-paying, high-demand jobs for our residents. Manufacturers pay taxes that support the essential services and infrastructure like education, high-speed internet, water, and sewer. Manufacturers support local nonprofits through countless volunteer hours and financial support, and those nonprofits serve the needs of the most vulnerable in our community. It is important our community be a place where manufacturers can succeed. We need to have certain structures in place to recruit and retain a strong, successful manufacturing base. It means our community must invest in infrastructure, have available land for expansion, and one of the most important investments we can make is having a trained, available workforce. Union County is blessed with outstanding quality education partners. Our school system, the 6th largest in North Carolina, is also one of the best systems in the state. South Piedmont Community College is an incredible institution leading our region in serving the needs of our residents as well as business and industry. And Wingate University is a quality independent university focused on being a leader in education in our state. We have a diverse nonprofit network known for collaboration and innovation to meet the needs of our most vulnerable residents. We have all the tools in place. Almost from the first day I walked into my office 10 years ago as Chamber President, the Chamber has been laser focused on recruiting, retaining, and developing a talent pool for business and industry partners for now and the future. The Chamber's workforce efforts have focused on students, parents, and educators with a focus on expanding career exploration, engaging students with trades and manufacturing, and encouraging our community to celebrate each student's pathway to success with equal enthusiasm. We've had great success in this realm, and yet there is still much work to be done to expand our potential workforce to adequately meet the needs of our industry partners. We all must think more creatively about how we recruit, retain, and develop talent. Historically, the city of Monroe has been an outstanding leader in recruiting and retaining manufacturers. Monroe's leaders have been focused on ensuring the city has the necessary infrastructure, available land for expansion, and regulatory environment. And now the city of Monroe is taking the lead in workforce development. As you may have heard by now, Monroe was one of 16 cities across the United States chosen through a competitive process to participate in the Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative. This creative approach to expanding workforce development initiatives to train individuals who have been unemployed and those who are underemployed. The Chamber applauds the City of Monroe's willingness to look for creative ways to meet the workforce needs of business and industry, while also seeking a way to positively impact the economic mobility of the under and unemployed residents in our community. The Chamber's vision is that everyone who does business or lives in Union County enjoys a thriving local economy and an excellent quality of life. And we believe manufacturing careers provide the opportunity for our residents to participate in that thriving local economy. And we're proud Monroe was chosen to participate in good jobs, great cities. And now I have the pleasure of introducing our first two speakers. Now I'm going to read this because I want you to know who's up here on the stage talking to you about this process. We're going to start with Britt Stitch. Britt is a senior advisor at the Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration. Prior to joining ETA, Brittany was a White House Fellow at the White House Domestic Policy Council focused on workforce. In 2015, she co-founded Guild Education, a company whose mission is to unlock opportunity for America's workforce through education and upskilling. Through partnerships with Fortune 1000 employers, more than 3 million working Americans have access to employer-funded education and training. Prior to Guild, Brittany built honors programs in community colleges across the country. She began her career as a teacher in East Palo Alto through Teach for America. She has received numerous accolades, including Forbes 30 Under 30, Stanford's R.J. Miller Social Change Award, Fast Company World's Changing Ideas Award, and recognition on CNBC's Disruptor 50, Forbes Cloud 100 list, and B-Lab's Best for World list. Brittany has served a governor-appointed commission for the Colorado Commission on Higher Education, as well as, on numerous other education and nonprofit boards, including Stanford Business School's Advisory Council. She's a frequent speaker on higher education, the future of work, entrepreneurship, and women in leadership. A first-generation college student, Britt holds an MBA, an MA in education, a BA from Stanford University, as well as a doctorate in higher education from the University of Pennsylvania. Mike Bartlett is the program director for post-secondary and workforce at the National League of Cities Institute for Youth, Education, and Families, where he serves as an advisor to city and local officials for post-secondary education, focusing on post-secondary equity and access, talent development strategies, and economic opportunity. Mike has previously held position with the National Governors Association and the Office of Governor in Kentucky. Mike has published numerous articles and reports on these topics and regularly presents to local and state officials and national organizations on post-secondary success strategies, aligning education and workforce development systems, work-based learning and apprenticeship, and sector-based industry engagement strategies. Mike's writing has been published in the U.S. Department of Labor, the Federal Reserve, the Council of State Governments, and others. I hope you get the sense that these two know what they're talking about. Will you join me in welcoming to the podium Mike and Britt? I think you're going that way. Kind.
I'm here.
You are there, my friend.
I'm here.
You're here.
How y'all doing? Good morning. We are so thrilled to be here. That was much too kind of an introduction. But I hope the theme that you all get is we believe deeply in the power of workforce in uplifting communities and the real impact that it can have. So first, a huge thank you to the mayor pro tem, to the entire city of Monroe. We feel beyond welcome. Thank you also for the incredible weather. But it has truly been a magical and energizing experience since we have gotten here. And it is a real testament to all of you in this room and to the community for your real commitment. I will be brief because we want to spend a lot of time hearing and talking to all of you. But there's just a few things that we want to make sure that we talk about today. So, again, I am a senior advisor at the U.S. Department of Labor, and what I really spend my time doing is focusing on the administration's Investing in America agenda. So that is the CHIPS and Science Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, as well as the Inflation Reduction Act, which brings trillions of dollars of investments, as well as private sector investments, to our communities across the country. That's a really exciting opportunity for all of our communities, and we all need to ensure that we have the workforce that we need to deliver. And so that is really what I get the privilege and honor to spend my time doing through initiatives like the Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative, which we are so thrilled again that Monroe is a part of. I should have started by saying, happy belated Manufacturing Day to all of us who celebrate, which we know is all of us in this room. And so what I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about is Mike will spend just a few minutes talking more about what really is the Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative, why we're so excited about this partnership with the National League of Cities, and most importantly, kind of the critical role that you all in this room, we're really hoping that you can play. But to zoom out for one moment, I do want to make sure that you all in this room know about a couple of exciting opportunities aligned with the Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative. So just last month, actually on Manufacturing Day, we kicked off a White House sprint focused on manufacturing. And what this really is a call to action for folks around the country, for employers, for community colleges, for K-12 schools, to really come together to build partnerships and to make commitment to really expand our worker pipeline into these really good jobs. And so we're excited to, one, make sure you all know about that. Two, we'll share some information. There's ways that you all can really make those commitments that we can really lift up at the national level so that folks can see the exciting things that are happening here in Monroe. And with that work, it is also National Apprenticeship Week, which is coming, and it kicks off next month in November. And again, this is another opportunity to highlight some of the incredible work. I know some of you here already have apprenticeships. I know some of you are looking to do more of that. And this earn and learn model is a really exciting opportunity that we have invested close to $500 million since coming into this administration to really expand these pathways, because we know we need to create pathways for everyone, and we know that that's really good for everyone, right? It's good for the workers, it's good for business, and it's good for our communities. And so the Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative is really meant to be an opportunity to catalyze the work you all are doing, to tell you loud and clear that you have the support, resources, and technical assistance of the federal government here and the National League of Cities that are really committed to making sure that you know of opportunities, that we can help in the ways we can, but it's also a two-way street. And so what we're really excited to hear from all of you is to learn from you, to understand what are things that are working, are there things that we can do better as well, because we are really committed to partnering with you all to drive real impact, to make sure that manufacturing continues to flourish here. It is clearly doing. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our partners at the National League of Cities. But again, thank you all for the time and really looking forward to the conversation today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the, I really appreciated Pat's introduction, but I also want to say I am the son of a coal miner from Eastern Kentucky. So, even though I live in DC and my titles, keep getting long and full of acronyms, I'm glad to be back to a place that looks a little bit more like home for me. So thank you all so much for having me. Again, my name is Mike Bartlett, and I'm the Program Director for Post-Secondary and Workforce Success at the National League of Cities. NLC is the voice of America's more than 19,000 cities, towns, and villages, and we're here to be an extension to city governments and their staff and their elected officials to help them build solutions that work in their communities. And I'll tell you this, if you ask mayors across this country, East Coast, West Coast, North, South, big, small, you ask them what keeps them up at night, it's two things. It's housing and it's workforce development. So we have, as an organization, prioritized this year helping cities understand workforce development as an issue and identify ways they can support their communities, support their residents, support their businesses. And it takes all the people in this room to succeed at that. We were able to partner with the United States Department of Labor, who has also recognized this challenge. And I'll tell you, I have worked now with 3 presidential administrations, and this is the first time I've seen a federal agency come with us into communities to provide supports and to listen, most importantly. So I have to give kudos to Britt and her team. I want to start by sharing a few data points that really underscore why we're here. So as Britt said, there are trillions of dollars that are coming to create jobs in communities. By our latest estimations, we expect that the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act are expected to create about 3 million jobs a year over the next decade. At the same time, we know there are some major challenges already in workforce that we run the risk of exacerbating with these new investments. We have done research at the National League of Cities, and we know that infrastructure jobs, including manufacturing jobs, take about 20% longer to fill than other jobs in communities already. We know also that we're seeing about 1.7 million retirements a year in and around these spaces. So do some quick math, that's nearly 5 million net new jobs we have to fill every year. At the same time, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has estimated that over the next decade, labor force participation is going to continue to fall from today's rate of 62.2% to 60.4% in 2032. So a lot more jobs coming, a lot fewer workers to do the work. And at the same time, I want to call particular attention to America's youth. We know the pandemic was very disruptive for young people in America, and today we have seen more than 6 million youth aged 16 to 24 who are not in school, who are not working, who have become totally disconnected from economic opportunity. And for reference, that's about 15% of all youth in America who have become disconnected and aren't working, aren't engaging in these opportunities. So our challenge as a nation, as states, and as cities, particularly, for me, is how do we bridge these gaps? We know there are folks who could work, who want to work, but maybe they face barriers. The Gallup, the national polling organization, did a very nice poll of workers who changed jobs during the pandemic, and they asked workers, why did you change a job? The number one reason won't surprise you, it was pay. But number two and number three, which were percentage-wise actually very close, the second reason people change jobs, I don't feel respected at work. And the third, childcare. So we know that there's a lot that goes into good jobs, and there's a lot to talk about as we figure out how do we connect people to good jobs and what does that mean for all of us. So that's why we built this partnership with the U.S. Department of Labor. So as Pat said, we had a competitive application process. We put it out there to all of our members across the country and said, hey, we are looking for a group of cities who are really willing to step into this space, to work with their partners, to work with their colleges, their economic development authorities, their chambers of commerce, their K-12 schools, to figure out what more can a city do, what more can city leadership do to engage, to build pathways and opportunities. And Monroe was one of 16 cities selected, and we had more than 200 cities express interest in this opportunity. So it really spoke to the quality of the partnerships that you see on this stage that were demonstrated to us. And so we're really excited to be here and do this work with you. So as was said earlier, I really want to focus on the conversations and hearing from you all later. I'll share one example just so y'all can get a sense of the kinds of things we're talking about and the kinds of programs and opportunities. And this was a model I worked with in Utah, actually, around Salt Lake City. And it's called the Utah Aerospace Pathways Program. Many of the major aerospace manufacturers in Utah, like Boeing, got together and they said, we don't have enough workers. And so employers came together, they partnered with their local colleges, their local school district, and they set up this Utah Aerospace Pathways Program, which is today allowing high school juniors and seniors, they're working 2 to 3 days a week for Boeing, they're going to class 2 or 3 days a week, and they're finishing high school with, and they're getting paid to do this, but they're finishing high school with a high school diploma, an associate's degree, and a job at Boeing and related manufacturers. So we're seeing really an explosion of these kinds of work-based learning opportunities, career-connected learning, whatever terminology you like. And so a lot of what we're going to be interested in hearing from you all today is how can we create more opportunities for folks to get experience with manufacturing, to learn about manufacturing, and build those pipelines so you all have the workers you need to be competitive, and we have the employers we need to be a competitive country. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all so much. You're going to hear more from me later when we move to our table-based conversations, and thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mike and Britt. And here in Union County, because we have such a strong manufacturing presence, it's National Manufacturing Day, but it's always Make It in Union County Week. Anyway, with that said, it's my pleasure now to introduce the Honorable Marion Holloway, Mayor of the City of Monroe. Marion?
Thank you, Pat, and great morning to each and every one of you. And welcome to the historic Dowd Center Theater for this game-changing event. To be one of 16 cities across the country selected for the Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative is indeed an honor. Having each of you present, providing input and support is also an honor. Being Vice Chair of the Monroe Union County Economic Development Commission, every month we are reminded that we've got manufacturers needing additional help, additional employees. Today, with assistance from representatives from the National League of Cities, the North Carolina League of Municipalities, United States Department of Labor, and the state of North Carolina, we will begin the process that will benefit each and every one of us. So thank you again for your willingness to participate in this win-win endeavor, and appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now to share more details about the vision, the Honorable Gary Anderson, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Monroe. Gary? Love y'all.
Good morning, and thank you for being here and getting up early with us this morning. I'm Gary Anderson, the Mayor Pro Tem here for the City of Monroe, and I'm also a cohort member of the Good Cities, Great Jobs initiative. I'm proud to acknowledge the significant role the manufacturing community plays in our local economy and the countless opportunities it provides for our residents. Manufacturing has long been the backbone of the city's growth and prosperity. It is the driving force behind innovation, job creation, and economic development. From the production of goods to the development of cutting-edge technologies, manufacturing has continually pushed the boundaries of what is possible in shaping the future of our city. In addition to its economic impact, manufacturing plays a crucial role in driving innovation. Our city has become a hub for research and development, attracting some of the brightest minds in the industry. Through collaboration between manufacturers, colleges, and research institutions, we have witnessed groundbreaking advancements that have transformed industries and improved the lives of people around the world right here from Union County. As we look to the future, I'm committed to supporting and nurturing the manufacturing environment here in Union County. I'm also committed to fostering an environment that supports and promotes manufacturing and creates a brighter future for our citizens. Together, let us embrace the opportunity that our city has achieved through the National League of Municipalities, Good Jobs, Great Cities destination, and continue to build a city that thrives on our strengths. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us this morning, and we look forward to making more partnerships and collaborating together today. Next, we will have to the stage other cohort committee members as we discuss partnerships to achieve the vision. And I look forward to talking with you and hearing some of your suggestions as well after this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear from several of our partners. Now, partners, one thing that I'm going to say is we are that much behind schedule, and manufacturers like to end on time. So, it's your duty. Ron Mail, Existing Industry Manager from Monroe Union County Economic Development Commission.
All right. Good morning, everybody. To piggyback on some of the comments regarding the importance of manufacturing to our community, just let me share with you a few numbers. There are approximately 190 manufacturing firms in Union County. They employ a little over 15,000 people. And again, we've already heard that 20% of all jobs available in Union County are manufacturing jobs. The average wage for a skilled manufacturing position is $27.19 per hour. Those are life-sustaining and family-sustaining wages. In total, manufacturing companies pay over $1 billion in wages every year. That's $1 billion. So consider the many times that those dollars turn over in the community. It's hugely significant. So clearly, manufacturing is a critical component of our local economy, and it deserves our efforts to preserve it and expand it. Consider the essential inputs of manufacturing. They're raw materials, capital, and people. And yes, while supply chains, inflation, high interest rates are currently more prevalent than we've seen in decades, the number one challenge for employers is finding and retaining a qualified workforce. This Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative is targeted at bringing more people into the labor pool who can successfully fill the many good jobs available at our manufacturers. Not only do we need to bridge the skills gap that exists among members of historically underrepresented and underserved communities, but we need to bolster the already successful workforce strategies that we have found successful. Those include apprenticeships, pre-apprentice, customized training, work-based learning, and our terrific career and technical education programs at our middle and high schools. So my request to you all, the manufacturers here in the audience this morning, is to please help us figure out the workforce challenges we face here in Monroe and Union County, and let's build on what already works, and let's find solutions together. With that, I thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Chris Rivera, Vice President of Business and Workforce Solutions from South Piedmont Community College.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Right. So on behalf of our president, Dr. Maria Farr, we bring you greetings from South Piedmont Community College. We could not be more excited to be a cohort member and strategic partner in this Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative. I'd like to take a brief moment to just talk about how we at South Piedmont see our current training opportunities kind of promoting the needs of your workforce and how we feel that we can align those positions with enhanced educational opportunities. So we at South Piedmont certainly believe that the most important path to a good job is through quality education, and quality education that is navigable and accessible to every resident in our community. In the workforce and business solutions area, we really focus on trying to understand your pain points as manufacturers and developing this quality education for individuals to be able to get into in a short amount of time, get the necessary skills that are essential to filling those workforce demands and getting the credentials to need to kind of thrive in that. So as we look at ways that we can better align, we look forward to this conversation with you today to take that information back to the institution and figure out how we can make those programs a bit more easy for individuals to access to get into your workforce or in your manufacturing plant a lot quicker. In addition to that, we've been kicking off a series of business roundtables, and the purpose of those has been to bring you all in and to better understand how we can, or what programs we're currently offering and how we can kind of transition those to, again, meet those needs that you have. And then lastly, as Britt mentioned, we are coming up on National Apprenticeship Week, and when you get out to your tables to this conversation, you'll see a very nice plug for an apprenticeship summit that South Piedmont has coming up on November the 14th. So we do hope that you'll take an opportunity to come out, learn about how we can help you build apprenticeship programs and meet those talent pipelines. So again, thank you for this partnership. Thank you all for coming out, and we look forward to that conversation a bit later this morning.
Well done. Well done. And now Thomas Foster, Career Employment Services Manager for the North Carolina Department of Commerce Workforce Solutions. Thomas?
Good morning, and thank you for coming today. I am here on behalf of the Central Iowa Workforce Development Board. Dr. David Hollis is the Workforce Development Board Director, and I am here representing Lori Gardner, who couldn't be with us today. And basically, I would like to discuss partnerships to achieve the vision. Right now, Lori is a busy person going out there, and you know, as I go out there with you as business leaders in the community, that we are out there to consult you for business and industry to determine. And I wrote down a couple of things that I thought would be pertinent to the situation, but if you go out there and you do the job, then you usually speak from the heart. So one of the things that I've noticed as a leader for the North Carolina Department of Commerce, as the local NC Works Career Center, I noticed that we have looked at 2020 and COVID. COVID has caused a lot of things, some good, some bad. However, we noticed that we had to look at a paradigm shift in the way that we looked at workforce, because we knew that we had to attack what you guys needed, which was workers, in a different way. Work, as I used to say, is now in a new normal. I don't say that anymore. We are in the normal right now. This is what we have to deal with. So partnering with you guys for success is one of the things that we look at. For instance, we had a business in Anson County where we partnered with South Piedmont Community College, where they created a boot camp. So this boot camp, if you look at it, was probably one of the best things that we did during the COVID era, because the individual employer had a need that we couldn't provide at the time, because most of the employees or potential employees had a fear of COVID. Once we got with South Piedmont and partnered and made a strategic plan, we came up with something that I think was very valuable to the employer. The boot camp was one of those things where we found those individuals who may not have been ready for the workforce, but the boot camp through the South Piedmont Community College allowed those individuals to be trained through the South Piedmont Community College program, where they learn how to operate CNC machinery. This was something that the employer was desperately in need of. Once we got those individuals through the system, there were 10, and I know most employers will not need 10 folks. We would like to partner with you guys here in Union County to get together, and possibly if you have 2 or 3, we can get possibly 10, because there is a cost factor for the instructor. But once we get that individual into the system, now you have a viable candidate that, number one, you have presented them with employment, sustainable employment. 2, you have created an individual who has learned through your corporate culture. And 3, you have an employee that's going to be there to stay. And that's the key. The key with Lori and her job is to make sure that she goes out there and communicate with you in business and industry to find out what your needs are. Align our services at the NC Works Career Center with your needs in order to make a workforce sustainable in our county. Once again, I'd like to thank you for having me here. I am honored to be part of the Good Jobs, Great City initiative, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you all at a later time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Thomas. And our last partner, Teresa Campo, Community Development Division for the City of Monroe. Teresa?
Well, thank you, and I'm a little height challenged, so I'm going to step over just a little bit. But I want to give you guys a hand, because I just want to thank you, because this is a dream for community development. I'm part of the Planning and Development, and I manage the Community Development Division. I'm the coordinator. And the dream is to have your voice heard. In my background, before I transitioned to government, I worked for a manufacturer during a real critical time. And some of you may know that demand manufacturing or just-in-time manufacturing. So I know your aches and pains. But the thing that just makes me so excited about this destination is that we are being recognized, that our manufacturers, it does say good jobs, great cities, but I'm going to just take it a step further. I know in Monroe we have great jobs, and you guys make it possible. You are great, and I want to free up the plate so that we can have your voice heard. And just thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
Well done. And now to talk a little bit about planning for success, and I'm going to go ahead and give you a warning, Mark. We are back on schedule. Don't mess this up. Will you all join me in welcoming to the stage City Manager for the City of Monroe, Mr. Mark Watson.
Pat has accused me of having too many words, and I keep telling her I'm comprehensive. So welcome. I'm excited that you are here today, and I'm excited for this conversation. In all of my years working in local government here in Union County, this is one of the only times that I can recall where our manufacturing employers have been invited to come and join a conversation like this. And we are excited to have you here. Back in March, the mayor asked me to attend a National League of Cities event with him in Washington. And I had just started my role with the city of Monroe. And at one of the main topic events there at that National League of Cities Symposium, they introduced this program, this initiative, Good Jobs, Great Cities. And I sat there and I listened to what it was all about. And the more they talked, the more I started thinking about, well, we have that in Monroe. We have that in Monroe. They talked about, do you have the utilities? Do you have the manufacturers? Some communities were struggling with the recruitment of jobs. Well, we don't necessarily struggle with that. We already have great employers in our community. And it was checking all the boxes. And I kept turning to the mayor and showing him the notes that I was writing. And I think my pen was beginning to smoke. I was writing so fast. And I actually started texting with Maria Farr, the president of South Piedmont Community College. And I was sending her the link to the web address for this Good Jobs, Great Cities initiative. And I started texting with some of the other staff back at the city, and I was like, this is something that really could catch on here. A lot of folks ask me as city manager, what do you do? What is your responsibility? And I can sum that up really in one word, and that is facilitator. So when I see a program like Good Jobs, Great Cities, and I think about the opportunities that we have, in this case, back home in the city of Monroe, and I think about the assets that we already have, the infrastructure that we already have, the jobs that are need to be filled back home, and it's real easy to start connecting the dots, okay? So I came back home. We had some additional conversation. Teresa had a lot of the information that we already needed for our application because of the work she does in community development. We were able to pull all of that information together. The other elected officials got really excited about the opportunity. And so we applied. One of the things that we were asked to provide in our application was, what is your goal? So the goal that we had identified is that we wanted to really impact and provide these pathways for the long-term unemployed and underemployed job seekers to have seamless pathways to good precision manufacturing jobs. Now, one of the things that the Good Jobs, Great Cities and staff has asked us to do is specifically to target or to identify a segment of the economy that we would focus on. And that was real easy for us, precision manufacturing. as I said a minute ago, one of the roles that, or one of the things that I really think that my role is facilitator. And as I go around the city and I see all of the now hiring, help wanted signs that are out in front of your plants, you know, I make mental note of that. And I'm thinking, well, here we are with a program that is trying to link the historically unemployed or underemployed to better paying jobs, then we need to figure out a way to make this work. Monroe has a available labor force, but how do we provide that seamless pathway to manufacturing jobs, the good paying jobs in this city? One of the things that is been in the news, been talked about for quite some time, you know, is affordable housing. How do you reach affordable housing? How do you provide affordable housing? How can people afford affordable housing if they don't have jobs where they can make a livable wage? Manufacturers provide that. So in the conversations that we'll be having here shortly, one of the things that I would be interested to know is, what are the roadblocks? What are the things that, as an employer, a manufacturing employer, as you have folks apply for work, you review those applications and those resumes, what are the things that are roadblocks to employment with your company? What are the things that most often you are kicking those applications out for, and that applicant is not successful in gaining employment in your company? What are those barriers? And are those barriers things that we can work together to overcome? Yesterday we had a group of community partners together that historically work with the underemployed and the unemployed segments of our population. And they have a perspective of what those barriers are. So what we're missing, the information we're missing, is the information that you hold. What are the barriers to employment in your company? And then putting together the different perspectives, how can we overcome that? So I'm excited. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging in this conversation. And Pat, where did Pat go?
Pat didn't leave.
Pat
She's
didn't
still
leave.
here.
Pat, I'll turn it back over to you.
Give that man a hand for being on time. Well done. Well done, Mr. Manager.
I am well trained.
At this point, we're going to move into some questions, Q&A time. Do we have anybody out there with microphones? Miss Teresa? We'd love to have your questions, that you have general questions now. This is the time. Do you need more coffee? There we go. Bob and Darnell. If you'll tell us who you are and the company you represent when you ask your question. Thanks for standing up, Bob, and rescuing me. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Pat. So the team up here mentioned affordable housing, which was one of the things that was on my list of barriers, so thank you for addressing that. But for us in the manufacturing areas, probably the next biggest thing is, how do we get people that are moving into Union County actually to our manufacturing facilities? So we do use some of the transportation, Union County transportation, but getting some of these entry-level workers to our work site is one of those barriers. And so what is the city doing to kind of help expand that? We work 24/7. So when the bus stops at 5 o'clock, We have people that start with us at 8 o'clock at night and work around the clock. So having some expanded ability to get people in the community that don't live around Airport Road, for example, to our facilities would be greatly appreciated.
He asked a question.
I'll start from back here. You'll be glad to know in our conversation with community leaders yesterday that that was one of the big barriers that came up. And so certainly I've seen other cities do things like subsidize Uber and Lyft so people can get around. We had some faith community leaders. If there are unused church buses, maybe there's a system that could be worked out to get people from where they are to those third shifts, those late night opportunities. But I'll hand it over to these folks.
I probably don't need a mic.
Could you also identify yourself too?
I'm Deborah Edwards with a company called Steel Point in the Stallings area. And I'll just say transportation for the underserved communities is a big problem. And it's people that can't afford a car, people who have had DUIs in the past, that kind of thing. They want to work, but they can't get to us. So and we're not a 24/7, we're a normal 5-day work week.
Thank you for that, Deborah.
I'm on the speak. Oh, I think this might work. Is this? Okay.
I'll give you mine. There we go.
So let me talk just a little bit about the transportation thing, and absolutely that's one of the areas that a number of us have been already talking about. Traditional public-funded transit systems are expensive. That is, so let me just share this with you. The city of Monroe, in a survey that is, I believe, done annually by the North Carolina League of Municipalities, which we have a representative today here. They survey the different services that cities provide. Monroe, and of all of those services, and it could be services like water, sewer, electricity, natural gas, different recreation facilities, all of those kinds of things. The only service that the city of Monroe does not currently provide is public transportation. The city of Monroe provides more of these services than any of our other peer cities in the region. So public transportation is a challenge, and I will tell you that just as Michael mentioned an alternative solution to public transportation, what I'm hoping that may come out of this is some other ideas of how to address that public transportation issue. Is that a cost share system within our community where the city pays a portion, the riders pay a portion, and the manufacturers pay a portion to get those individuals to your work sites? And we could, is that dedicated routes? If employers are kicking in part of the cost for that, and I can't see that would be a wide open transportation system, but it would be a transportation system that served your needs and met the needs of these individuals who did not have transportation. But I think we've got to get creative.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tyree Schaffner, Senior HR Manager at Tyson Foods. But transportation is a huge barrier for us as well, and we tried to get creative, right? We have a partnership with Enterprise, Commute with Enterprise, where we work to get employees applications with Enterprise to provide vans, and then they pick people up and bring them to work. But the cost that we have to pay, we raised the price for each rider to about $40 a week, but we still pay about 60% of that cost. The manufacturer does. So I like that suggestion that you had. Like, is there something? I know the employees pay a little bit, we pay most of it, but it's not looking like something that's sustainable for us as a business to continue to do.
Thank you for that. Other questions or comments?
I just want to piggyback on what you just said. I think the sustainability of any of these things that we talk about today, these ideas that we come up with today, is critical. So a sustainable transportation system. Childcare has been a topic that has come up. You know, traditional childcare in this area typically is not available for second and third shift workers. You know, how do we resolve that? I may be mistaken, but in my travelings around what I'll call the manufacturing hubs of the city of Monroe, I don't see a lot of child care facilities. So is child care, I mean, I guess one of the things that I'd like to look into a little bit more is are the facilities even available close to where the jobs are? You know, so that's another thing that we need to look at, but sustainability is key.
And the cost, of course, of childcare as well.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments, either in support or anything else that you want to talk about? Going once, twice. All right, we're going to break into small groups.